Today we have Megan Yelaney on the show with us today, and she started off as a Beachbody coach, moved into business coaching for fitness instructors, and then moved into being a business coach for all different types of businesses. Welcome to the Breakthrough Mastermind Show. I'm your host, Jen Argue, and I facilitate masterminds for women entrepreneurs who want to grow their businesses to help others and create financial independence. I'm interviewing Megan Yelaney today. She is an online business coach, and she helps people reach full-time status as entrepreneurs, as well as helping seasoned entrepreneurs hit those 6- and 7-figure milestones. She also helps people pivot powerfully in their business as well. And she is a wife, a fur mom, Harry Potter fanatic, singer, and she lives and works bi-coastally in New York and Las Vegas. And I'm so excited to have her here today. All right, we're here today with Megan Yelaney, and I'm so excited. And she's got her handheld microphone with her.
I do. I love it. I'm a singer. So I think there's something like, I feel like I'm performing when I'm holding this. So I'm like in the zone when I have this microphone in my hand.
Oh my gosh. Yes. I can totally see how, it's so fun to have something that makes you feel like you're in the zone.
Yes, definitely.
That's so great. And I think you are like always in the zone. I've been following you on Instagram for a long time and listened to your podcast, which is Pretty Awkward Entrepreneur. And I heard that you've upped it to 2 episodes a week now, which is awesome. Congrats.
Yeah, I've been loving it. Like I just was craving a little bit more personal connection. And so besides just like the business tips and interviews, we are now just doing kind of like a heart to heart every week too, pulling back the curtain, behind the scenes kind of stuff.
I think people love that.
So far, it's only been a few weeks and I'm like, wow, I've never had episodes shared so much. This was the right decision. Like people are craving that, like just real conversation about what's going on. So
the vulnerability. Yeah. People can relate to that.
Totally.
For sure.
Yeah.
Okay. So one of the things I love to ask people when they come on is, how did you get into entrepreneurship? Because, for women, it can be a windy road. So tell us your story.
Totally. So my journey actually started many, many years ago, 2012. But I actually would really take it back further when I did my first at-home workout program. And when I went to college, I actually went to college for integrated marketing and communication. I went to San Diego State in California. And at the time, I was also going back and forth to Los Angeles to pursue film, theater, and TV. I always wanted to be a performer. That was like, I was raised to do that. My whole family did that. That's what I was like, just naturally really good at. And I loved it, but it started to become such a job and I lost the joy in it. And I knew like, while I loved it, even when I got gigs, they still, even full-time, didn't pay great. And I just saw that starving artist life and was like, I don't want to live that. I just don't want to live that. I can enjoy making money and living, doing other things and do that on the side. And so I started a workout program because I just didn't like going to the gym. I felt very uncomfortable and wanted to just get in shape and feel better in my body, and loved it and became addicted to it. It was so amazing. It was incredible. And for about a year, I was selling it, but not getting paid because I didn't know you could. And I was like, oh, when I found out that you could, I was like, man, I've been doing this for free. And I just naturally talked about it. I just told everyone about it. I felt good. They asked me like, what are you doing? Like, you feel so, you look different, and not necessarily like, I didn't physically change a ton. I just, the energy, the confidence. And quickly I realized, oh, this is a business, and it was a network marketing company. And so I dove in. Like when I found out, oh, I actually have been already doing this, I just wasn't getting paid for it. So I kind of accidentally fell into entrepreneurship in that way, built that network marketing business up, many ups and downs, tosses and turns. And we'd be here for a long time if I told you that whole story, trust me. But ended up building a 6-figure business with that company for many years and loved it. But then I started to get an itch, and that's when I switched into what I do now. Obviously there's many more, nuances to that story, but that's kind of what got me started, was just the urge to not live that starving artist lifestyle, and already kind of selling something without meaning to, and finding this opportunity accidentally.
I'm kind of curious. I mean, we don't have to rush through it.
No, you're good.
How did you, when you were doing the network marketing,
Mhm.
were you exposed to people who were doing these other things that kind of drew you into the world that you are in now?
Yes, definitely. My first exposure was in the health and wellness field, because that's the company I was in, was health and wellness. And I was just really interested in health and wellness, but not because I was like destined to do it. I think deep down, I always knew like why my network marketing did so well was the business aspect of it. But I just found it interesting. I was like, oh, this is so interesting. Like they're making money on YouTube. They're making money, on Instagram. Like, how are they doing this? They're not a network marketing company. And at the time, that's like all I thought and all I saw. So yes, I definitely was exposed to that. Mainly like fitness YouTubers was kind of my first foray into online business outside of that. So a lot of fitness kind of coaching packages. And that's first what I started was health and wellness. Only lasted for 6 months because I quickly realized I should be business coaching and quickly shifted to that. But yeah, that was my first exposure was like, oh, these people are making money online and not in a network marketing company. How are they doing it? How can I do that? Because I was feeling that itch around 2016 after about 4 years in it. And I'm calling it the 4-year itch because then it happened again in 2020. And I was like, oh, here we go. There's that 4-year itch again. And I just knew like, I love this company. They're great. I still love them, still a distributor technically, but I just knew I was meant to do more than just that. And I felt very limited. So that was my first like introduction.
Mm. Did you find that a lot of your, you said you went into business coaching about after doing the fitness for about 6 months?
Yeah.
Did you find that did you start off business coaching marketers, network marketers, or?
I didn't, but I probably should have.
Oh.
I started to coach health and wellness coaches mainly.
Okay.
So it was still definitely in my wheelhouse. Like it was something I had already done. I felt really confident in that area because I had built a health and wellness business with Beachbody. That was the network marketing company. Again, still technically a part of them. Love their company. I think they're great. It was just like the model that felt very limiting to me. And then branched out into health and wellness. So I thought, okay, this is my jam. These are my people. I know how to speak to people who are looking for health and wellness solutions. Let's start with helping those kinds of online coaches and service providers. And I'm really glad I niched down to just that. I'm sure we can talk about that more, but that was one reason. But I could have probably also helped network marketers now that you say that.
I just was so curious because it sounds
Yeah.
like you're the type of person that really gets networked really fast.
Yeah. Definitely. Lots of friends. Yeah. And it's funny because my friend and I, who were on the same team and basically we're business partners, in network marketing, have always said we want to build something for network marketers. So maybe one day, who knows, but it's definitely been in the back of my head. So
yeah. Oh, that's awesome. So now that you're building this really successful business, I think a lot of people have in the back of their mind, like, what is it? People are always looking for that one thing. We know it's not one thing, but there probably are a few things that really stand out, at least for your journey. So, and we always talk about the hard skills and the soft skills. So if we were to start off with, let's say, the soft skills, what would you say that's about?
One of the soft skills that now, ironically, I actually have a program about is really creating a standout brand. And I did not mean to do this. It kind of was on accident, which I feel like a lot of the best things are. And then I was like, oh, that's why this is working. It's because of that thing I did. So basically building a standout brand by being different, but honestly, just being yourself, that's being different. And so just a really quick story is at the time when I branched out into health and wellness, every single person I knew who was in the fitness influencer space or fitness coaching space was doing this booty pose that they called it. So I'm sure you know what I mean. Like you take a picture of essentially your butt looking good, and you're like twist your body like impossibly. It's very hard to do it. And that's how they were like selling their coaching. It was obviously more to it, but like that's the picture you saw in every single fitness coach's profile. It's like at the time, I'm sure you've seen many of it. And I was like, oh, I guess this is what I have to do, like see success, follow success. And so I started to, and it felt so incredibly inauthentic. And I know sometimes we have to do things that we don't want to do. But this felt like really, really inauthentic. And I was like, oh, I can't do this anymore. And so I had taken a video of me trying to get that pose. And usually I would do that and then try to screenshot a good pose, right? And I was like, this is so ridiculous. I'm going to post this video and make fun of the fact that we do this. And for my page at the time, it went viral. And I had so many people going, yes, this is so ridiculous. Why do people do this? And it just ended up being this like really big conversation starter of like, why are we all marketing the same way? We're all different. Like, why are we all trying to look the same, act the same? And so ever since then, I stopped doing that pose unless I was actively making fun of it, which I did many times, and made it clear like, hey, nothing against it if that's you. It's just so not me. And I felt like I was put in a box, right? And so that soft skill was really taking my personality and not hiding it anymore. Really sharing it, sharing the things that I find interesting outside of business that I could relate back to business and connect with people on that personal level, and not just talking about health and wellness, not just talking about business or whatever your niche is, right? And really creating more of a personal brand. So I can go more into it, but that's like definitely one of the main soft skills that ended up becoming a huge part of what I teach now.
Wow. That's incredible. What a
Yeah.
great insight. And I think it's probably the first time I've had somebody actually share that aspect of a soft skill. So just brilliant. And I can see you like totally living that out in everything that you do. So definitely sounds amazing. And what about your hard skills?
Yeah. So hard skills that I wrote down, one was niching down. And I will say, like, I know niching down gets a kind of a bad rap. I hear that a lot lately, like, you don't need to niche down. And not everyone does. I'll totally say that not everyone does. And I think with niching down, it could be a specific skill that you're really great at. It doesn't have to be just a niche client. So just remembering that too. But for me, I became known as a business coach for health professionals in the first year. Pretty much all of my clients were people in the health and wellness field. And I really think that served me well because I got to hone in on my skills just in general. And that just kind of elevated my own confidence, honestly, but then also my perceived confidence and expertise. And then after about a year, I was easily able to expand out of that. And now it is my clientele so diverse. I have all different types of coaches and service providers. Like there's not one type. But I really think getting more specific that first year did help. And it just helped me know who I was marketing. So that's one. And then the second hard skill is storytelling, which I think is like, I love that storytelling has not and will never go out of style. And I feel like with TikToks and reels and all of that, the things that go viral are really good stories usually, or something that hits a heartstring or that's funny or that makes you feel an emotion. And that's what storytelling is. And when I even think back to my health and wellness business outside of Beachbody, right before I decided to switch to business coaching, I got really good at storytelling and like started to get all these clients. And I was like, oh man, I don't want to do this anymore though. But I'll never forget one of the stories I shared was a really vulnerable story about like my struggles with health and wellness, my struggles with body image. And I was so terrified to share that story. And the second I did, and it was something that was very common, that a lot of people struggled with that we just don't want to admit to, right? Because it's vulnerable. That's when everything changed. I started getting so many more client inquiries, and same thing goes for business. Whenever I share a tough time in business or how things didn't work out the way I wanted it to, and don't paint it all perfect, that's when I get more client inquiries. That's when I get people, listening to the podcast. So I think vulnerable storytelling, becoming a really good storyteller, hands down has been one of the best hard skills that I've learned.
Amazing. So how did you hone that skill?
So a couple of ways, honestly, the more traditional way is I've taken some copywriting classes, which do teach storytelling. So most good copywriting courses should have a section on storytelling. So that was one way. Honestly, I also just am from an acting background, so it's kind of a natural part of who I am. And this is a fun, free thing. Well, I guess kind of free is I read a lot of fiction to this day. I read a ton of fiction. I love fantasy books. Harry Potter is like, I'm obsessed with Harry Potter. And the year that I had the biggest growth in my business, that I scaled my income like 5 times, all I read was Harry Potter that year. And no self-help books, no business books. I was like, I just really was missing that creativity and escaping to that world. And I swear that infused in me, and I started writing better, and I started to come up with more creative ideas. So I know it's not like a go learn this skill, but I'm telling you, whenever I have clients do the same, where they read or listen to or watch even really good movies that are telling a true story, show you the arc, and like, when did you notice you were really emotional? Were you hooked in? That stuff we can take and use in our day-to-day business. And I think a lot of times we limit ourselves to like the online coaching industry or the online space. Look at big brands, look at movies. How did they sell their movies? How did they hook you in and wanting to watch it again? What happened? So that's honestly been a huge way I've honed that skill.
It is so refreshing. And I think people need to hear that they can actually step away from their business and do something that really interests them, that
Totally.
could serve to just, even explode their business even more.
Oh yeah,
Because
totally.
it seems opposite.
It's really, especially if you're a creative entrepreneur, which, a lot of people nowadays kind of have to be, and you're creating content and trying to sell from that. You've got to come up with different ideas and be innovative. And when you're just watching other people all day, scrolling, it limits your innovation. So if you can like go into another world or get outside, go for a walk, like the more I unplug, the better my ideas are. The more I consume, the worse my ideas are. And I'm just like trying to create what someone else did. So there's a fine line. I think consuming can be good to spark some ideas, of course, like hone in, but like true creativity for storytelling, I find comes when I'm like totally unplugged.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's good. And entrepreneurs need to hear that.
Yeah.
We
It's
need that encouragement.
it feels very like opposite advice. Like you would think it'd be so opposite. And I think I was told this forever and I ignored it. And finally when I listened, I was like, oh man, it's like literally do less. That's really hard for entrepreneurs.
Right. Our identity is so tied up in what we do.
Yes. Oh,
Yeah.
it's so true. So true.
Yeah. So tell me about how you grew your business. Where did you start? Did you start with a product? Did you start with a high-end ticket thing? And then how did you grow it? What was your journey like?
Yeah, totally. So I'll start with outside of network marketing. When I started my business coaching business, I started just really with one-on-one coaching. I was like, I want to just hone in, focus on this, get really great at this, and really create a framework that could be repeatable. And obviously with one-on-one, it's custom. So it'd be altered for each client, but essentially helping them go through these tried and true steps, right? From my years of building my own businesses, but also going to school for marketing and just like really becoming educated on different marketing tactics and customer journey and all that. So I got really great at that. I booked out my one-on-one and I was like, okay, we're booked. I literally cannot take any more clients if I want to sleep. So what else? What's next? And so that prompted me creating my first group program. And essentially I took the framework that I had honed in my one-on-one for about a year and I created my first group. And so then I was able to help, moving from one to one to many and helping many people at once learn these foundational principles that like they didn't need a one-on-one coach to learn. They actually, I feel, learn better in a group at that stage in their business. And I encourage people to do that versus one-on-one right in the beginning. And so then my group program was born and that was really awesome. And to this day, we're still running it. It's just a different edition of it. It continues to evolve. And then my next step from there, I took a very niche aspect of my group program and created a passive course because it was a specific skill it was launching that people wanted to learn about, but didn't need necessarily live coaching. And they wanted to like watch a course and learn a really specific skill. And so that was my first passive offer. And that was really, really exciting. I was like, oh my gosh, I can make money without coaching. Like what?
Did you have it on Evergreen or did you?
I did it on launch first,
Okay.
Open close cart. And then I did another launch and then it became evergreen. To be quite honest, I never gave it the like good old evergreen try like I really should have. I could still to this day, I kind of want to update it and spice it up a bit. But that's another thing. Live launching was so ingrained in my head and very popular at the time. I feel like now people are doing evergreen. They're more into that. They understand the benefit of it. I've switched to evergreen for a lot of stuff and I'm definitely seeing the appeal to it. I'm like, oh, this is really nice. So that's been great. But that really was kind of how I learned and what I got great at. So what I also taught. But yeah, so those were my first few. And then I launched into a mastermind. And that my first mastermind was probably what brought me to that next income bracket and really helped me take off because now I was helping people at a higher level. not just beginners. So that was a huge confidence boost in my own self, honestly, at the highest rate I ever charged, with an in-person component. So it just really elevated everything. And that's kind of, my business has changed a lot since then, but that definitely was like, those were the biggest catalysts to my growth around that time.
Yeah. Yeah. And so now what does your product suite look like?
Yeah. So it's funny. It's like, it's not that different. It's just the way I serve is very different. So I still have private coaching, but it's just a different level. So it's not for beginners anymore, and different structure. I used to do weekly calls. Now it's one call a month. It's wild. I'm like, how did I do that? How did I do weekly calls? No one really needs it. I learned very quickly too. So I have private coaching. I have my group program that's for people who are just starting to around $5,000 a month. So helping them build up that full-time income. And that's a year long. So the other way that my programs have changed is now, instead of just doing shorter spurts, I really want to go all in with people, whether it's beginning or whether it's middle or whether it's like higher level on their journey. So my group program is beginner. I have my one-on-one is the high, and then the middle is my mastermind. That's like a true mastermind. So it's a little different than my old one, which was more like one-on-one coaching mastermind. This is really for people who are masterminding. So those are my three core offers. And then I have VIP days that I do in person, essentially like 6 months of coaching in one day, just like, let's go and create that plan all together. It's really fun to be in person again. So that, and some intensives and smaller offers too.
Yeah, that's amazing. You've got some really great things going on. Is your group coaching, is that like you launch it and then it goes for 6 months or a year? You said it goes for a year.
Yeah.
Or is it like rolling enrollment?
Yeah, it's rolling enrollment, which is so exciting. And I just experienced my first, so we did a launch last November, and then I moved into rolling enrollment, but didn't really like talk about it or have anything super set up. In April, we finally got a funnel set up, and then I did a push this past month. So it was my first time experiencing people join a program with other people who have already been in it. And it's been so cool. And I was like, wow, we had a really good push period. And I was like, this was so amazing. It was so much less energy. And it just felt like, hey, they were ready now. They don't want to wait until November to join again. Yeah. They want to join now. And we did have some kind of incentive. So there was a little bit of urgency, but I really have enjoyed rolling enrollment. It's definitely been a shift. And it was a little bit of like a baby deer finding her legs again. I was like, wait, how do I do this? But I'm really loving it. And it's honestly bringing a lot of energy to the current people in the group too.
Yeah. Yeah. I love that. I'm a huge fan of rolling enrollment. I think it's great. I think it's great for everybody for the reasons that you mentioned. And what I love too is to hear about your mastermind. I get so excited, as you know, with masterminds. And it's exciting for me to hear that it's a true mastermind because sometimes people call their group coaching programs masterminds and, it's okay. But I love when it's like a true bringing together of minds to all contribute and help each other.
Exactly.
So
that's what it is. And when I first heard about masterminds, the ones that I saw were really one-on-one coaching masterminds. So it was and I did that for years and I loved it, but I soon realized like I am coaching all the time because everything's one-on-one. And I was like, I can't do that physically anymore. Like I need my own time and space, and time is just more important to me than money now in this time of my life. But also I just was like, I want them to lean more on the mastermind part. And so it's already like the people that I have in are just really craving that. They're like, yes, we like you as the facilitator and we like that we have a little bit of touch with you one-on-one, but overall it's like the power of the group. And that's what I love. So
yes. Yeah. I think everyone needs to have a mastermind. Like everybody needs to do that.
It's very special.
It is. It is. So tell me what you're looking forward to and what's ahead for you.
Yeah. So I'm really looking forward to continuing rolling enrollment and just like continuing ongoing sales. Again, moving from a launch only kind of model to selling all the time. People can join whenever, like, and promoting yourself like all the time without feeling weird about it. It's like I've helped many clients do that, but for some reason it was weird for me to do myself. I was like, why don't I'm struggling with this? And I help other people do this. But that's very common, right? So I'm looking forward to that becoming more of a system for me and more natural for me. And then also just as I look forward, the time that I spend working, the amount I'm making compared to what I used to make and have to work it's night and day. Like my time is almost split in half. So I'm just looking forward to keeping that going, that trajectory going, and creating more. I love creating. Like I'm starting to dabble in TikTok and having a lot of fun there. So I'm looking forward to creating more. The podcast is like a number one priority. And so like really diving into that, and just having more space to truly create is really what I'm looking forward to.
So interesting. And I love all of that. And I think that's really healthy. And I think that's a great way to go, to like lean into the current marketing, areas like TikTok and podcasts and everything. And to value your time the way that you're doing it now is so good. Do you find that as you're entering this season and you're valuing your time more, that you're coaching your clients a little bit differently with that mindset?
Yeah, totally. Especially my private, like it's the type of client I'm attracting is definitely different. Like they don't need to be told what to do. They don't need hand holding. They're bosses, And so I've just noticed it doesn't require as much time or energy, and I'm like, that's because I intentionally like have put that message out there. That's who this package is for. So definitely helping them take more radical responsibility and truly coaching, right? Telling people what to do isn't coaching. So actually truly coaching.
Yeah. That's fantastic. Okay. So one last question.
Yeah.
Because, and this might not be a hard one for you considering the season that you're entering now, but a lot of entrepreneurs have a hard time resting and taking time off. And when you do get that time off, what do you like to do?
Yes, I love this. It used to be hard for me, and now I love resting. I'm like, bring it all on. I am very simple. Like I don't know if it's like the older I get, the more simple I like my rest to be, but I love baths and I love reading. Like even after this, like I'm pretty much done for the day, and I love a good fantasy book. Like I'm always reading different series, and so taking a bath, reading a fantasy book. I have a little puppy, Golden Doodle, who I'm obsessed with. So playing with her, walking her. My husband and I, now that we're in Vegas, like doing some more fun things here. There's so much to do here, and just people watch. It's wild how entertaining it is here. So just like going out, going hiking, like getting outside, like, exploring the cities I live in. I live in really cool cities, and I don't feel like I took advantage of that. But I love a good book. I love reading. I love a good TV show, like just kind of the normal stuff, nothing too crazy. Yeah.
Oh, I love all those things. I think that's fantastic. What's a book series that you've loved lately?
Yeah. So a recent book series, I'm actually starting to reread it now, but I finished it last year. It's called A Court of Thorns and Roses. It's kind of like magic meets 50 Shades of Grey. So just warning anyone who's not into that. But it's another world, it's fantasy. So it's like, it's a nice way. I think, especially since the pandemic, like we all need a little escape sometimes. And it's such a nice like way to just, again, get your mind wandering and in these different creative worlds. You'll probably become a better writer from it. So that's a series I absolutely love and rereading now.
Oh, that is so fun. And then you mentioned too that you like to take baths and bubble baths. And I just think, oh, that is so great. I hear that. So, I mean, I'm definitely a bath person.
Yeah.
And there's another woman in my mastermind who's a bath person, and she actually has a desk made for the bathtub.
Oh, I love
she
it.
can work from the bathtub if she wants to.
That's so funny.
I know, but I think it's a thing like with women, there's so many women entering entrepreneurship. And I think, I don't know, am I wrong? Do women like to take baths more than men? I don't know.
I think so. I don't want to assume, but from what I've seen,
like,
I don't know, there's something
thing.
Yeah, there's something about it. And it's funny because I used to say I'd want to be a bath person and I never was. And then once I started to do it, I was like, oh, this is like the most relaxing, like real personal care time that I'm spending today, and it's nice because like I love journaling and exercise and meditation and all that jazz, and that's great. But there's something about a bath that feels like truly self-care to me.
Yeah.
So it's nice.
Yeah. And you really are like removed from the cares of the world.
Yes. I don't take my phone. I try not to. I'll sometimes like take a boomerang of it, but like then I try to put it away and yeah, you just get to escape a little bit, which is nice.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm so glad you were able to come and join us today and share, your journey with us. I think it's been so encouraging to like hear the different steps that you've taken to get to where you are. And plus just to hear too, how you've transitioned into this new season. I think,
Yeah.
just to know that you've hit these huge milestones and yet you're always reimagining and reconfiguring. And I see you as somebody who works hard to land on their feet.
Mhm.
And you're doing such a great job. And I definitely want people to follow you. So where can they go and find you?
Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it. I'm so honored to be on here. It's really fun. So you can go to meganyelaney.com. Everything's there as far as like good freebies, podcast, all of that. And at Megan Yelaney on Instagram. And the Pretty Awkward Entrepreneur podcast is like my favorite place to be. So if you want to listen to a fun podcast.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Everyone go check out Megan.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And if you are looking for more support, challenge, and inspiration in running your online business, I would love to have you apply to my mastermind. Check it out at jenargue.com.